from the Civil War times. Today we will be talking about Mary Todd Lincoln and Abraham Lincoln. Shortly after Mary Todd moved in with her sister in Springfield, Illinois, she went to a social event. At this social event, lots of men were crowding around her. One of them was Abraham Lincoln. Abraham asked her to dance, and after she did, she knew that she was in love with him. The wedding was on November 4th, 1842, at Mary's sister Elizabeth's house. Her wedding ring had the words, "Love is eternal," engraved in the band. Mary was born on December 13th, 1818 in Lexington, Kentucky. She died on July 16th, 1882 in Springfield, Illinois. They had 4 kids: Robert, Eddie, Willie, and Tad. Eddie died before the war, Willie died during the war, and Tad died after, and Robert lived.
In November of 1842, Abraham Lincoln wed Mary Todd, the daughter of a wealthy Kentucky banker. Because of his prosperous law practice, the Lincolns were able to purchase this fine new house in Springfield. And here, on this street, they raised their 4 boys, Robert, Eddie, Willie, and Tad. Over the next 17 years, this house served as their home.
And we're back live with the start of the Civil War with Abraham Lincoln. These are the words he's put right before the Civil War. "My friends, no one not in my situation can appreciate my feeling of sadness at this partying," he said. "To this place and the kindness of these people I owe everything. Here I have lived a quarter of a century and have passed from a young to an old man. Here my children have been born and one is buried. I now leave not knowing when or whether ever I may return with a task before my greater than which rested upon Washington." After expressing his hope for guidance from the divine being, he added the words, "Let us confidentially hope that all will yet be well." He concluded the brief speech by saying, "I bid you an affectionate farewell." He said this speech right before the start of the Civil War. Lincoln's reason to fight wasn't for slavery, but it was later. But it was to preserve the Union as a whole and to unite together. He had a speech called "A House Divided." His speech said, "A house divided against itself cannot stand. I believe this government cannot endure permanently half slave and half free. I do not expect the Union to be dissolved. I do not expect the house to fall, but I do expect it will cease to be divided. It will become all one thing or all the other." Did you know that Lincoln went through a depression for a short period of time? All he heard at night were the noises of cannons and bayonets. He always felt trapped and surrounded by darkness. As you may have heard, Lincoln was the one who issued the Emancipation Proclamation. More than anything, Lincoln wanted the country to be one nation together and to unite. He knew that couldn't happen while there was slavery. So, on January 1st, 1863, he signed the Emancipation Proclamation. The proclamation freed the slaves in the Confederate States, but he had no control over it, so it didn't really help out that much.
By the summer after Willie's death, President Lincoln had decided that freeing the slaves was a military necessity, absolutely essential to the preservation of the Union. And on New Year's Day, 1863, Abraham Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation, which freed the Southern slaves and which allowed them to join the Union Army. By the end of the war, more than 180,000 blacks, mostly emancipated slaves, had served in the Union Army.
The war still went on, and then that brings us to the next battle. This is the bloodiest battle in the Civil War, the Battle of Gettysburg in Pennsylvania. Next, we will be showing a Gettysburg Address video clip.
The Civil War ground on with tremendous loss of life. On July 1st, 1863, the worst battle of the war began outside a little Pennsylvania town called Gettysburg. 170,000 troops engaged in battle, and in the end, the rebel forces were defeated, but the total number of dead was over 43,000. On November 19th, President Lincoln made a short but famous speech at the battlefield where he was dedicating a cemetery to those who died at the Battle of Gettysburg. In this speech, known as the Gettysburg Address, Lincoln said that the men who died in this battle had done so to preserve our American democracy.
To make certain that those dead shall not have died in vain, that this nation under God shall have a new birth of freedom, and that the government of the people, by the people, and for the people, shall not perish from the earth.
After all those battles that happened and all the different fighting and soldiers that died, the war did come to an end. The North won, the Union side won, and slavery had been gone. There's no slavery anymore, and the nation did unite again, but it took a while for them to reconstruct. So now we're going to go into Lincoln's assassination. Lincoln was sitting in Ford's Theater watching My American Cousin, and John Wilkes Booth came back from the door, which was unlocked, which his bodyguard, or security guard, walked out and went to go watch the theater, so the door was not guarded. So he opened the door and shot Lincoln on the left side of his head. Mary broke out crying and she started freaking out. Henry Rathbone tried to save him but couldn't. 6 soldiers carried him out into the Peterson boarding house, and they treated him as best as he could, but 5 hours later, our president died. He is now in the ages.
After Mary's husband died in 1865, the next 17 years of her life were full of sorrow. She was eventually charged with being insane. Mary's mother was Eliza Ann Parker, and her father was Robert Todd Smith. She had 3 brothers and 3 sisters. She also had 4 half-brothers and 5 half-sisters. 4 of Mary's brothers fought for the Confederacy. No, not the Union, the Confederacy in the Civil War.
It was very hard for Abraham Lincoln to marry Mary Todd, for they were in favor of slavery and they lived in the South.
Mary was a very fashionable person when she was the First Lady. She was very popular due to her fashion.
Yes, I remember those amazingly beautiful hoop skirts she had. Pictures.
And that's our show. Thank
Thanks
you
for
for watching The Civil War Times.